Yeah, it really can. I think for Motivate.Trust, they could try to play a faster Dusa, something that we used to see from old Boom Esports. They'd go for, say, a Mask of Madness on that Dusa, mainly on Dreamocell, and just run down fast for some team fights. Issue with that is they don't have like the big ult to set up for the Dusa Stone Gaze to be effective. You don't have Arena, you don't have Egg to really get the AoE control to stack up, to make them make a choice whether to face the Dusa or target something else. And I think that's the one factor that will hold back a fast Dusa game. So it's going to be a bit of a slower start with Dusa TA. The Bloodseeker as well, if that is off lane and not support, doesn't sound particularly inspiring. Like it can hit an early spike with, say, Maelstrom up, but the impact of that early Bloodseeker can be hit or miss. Like you can run down a couple of heroes, sure. There's a Tiny to toss you back. There's a Silencer with good silences on. The Snapfire can kind of stun you up. The Invoker can also just Cyclone you up with a Tornado. So I'd say the best course of action now for Motivate.Trust is to flex the Bloodseeker into support and just go for something else in the offlane that can play with the Dusa. You still have the option for, say, the Mars. You still have the option for maybe even an offlane Phoenix could work out, although not advisable against the Snapfire. I think the Mars might be your best choice if they can slide away with it for Masaros.
Yeah, perhaps. Final pickup, Execration. They'll be the first ones to make this final pick, and still could be a position 1 Tiny. Maybe they're looking for another offlane pick here from Raging. It seems like a really good offlane Lycan game, if you ask me, John, for Raging Potato. Maybe not because you're against the Bloodseeker, but I'm saying that the Zoo meta seems to fit the bill very nicely here for Execration if you wanted to go down that route. Again, against the Rupture, maybe not so much. But we've seen Raging on those kind of heroes, even when he has been counted out, and he doesn't really seem to care very much about it. He's all about the space creation and his end of things. What else could you see? In fact, never mind, because it's going to be an off-lane Tiny and a safe lane PL. So you called that earlier, John. You did ask for the PL, and there you go. You've got it.
It's going to really just wreck face on the Dusa, even if Templar Assassin. Just burning through the refractions that quick with illusions means that you're not going to have much of a window to blink around, as you'd expect. I think the PL fits into Execration's draft really nicely. Wondering what they're actually giving Raging. We've seen him play offlane Snapfire even after the Ags was nerfed, long way back. I do recall that from Raging Potato, so maybe offlane Snapfire, maybe offlane Tiny, maybe offlane Silencer. All of these 3 heroes can be flexed around, and that does give a lot of versatility now for their offlane. I think the Silencer sounds like a good option. Against the Dusa, you can hold the lane well, you can Arcane Cursor, you can Last Word, you can harass her out with Glaives, you can get some pretty safe CS as well. Well, we'll see. Motivate.Trust, again, Bloodseeker offlane in this game doesn't sound amazing, especially since you see the Phantom Lancer up now. I think you could still go for the Mars here if you wanted to. It's still a bit tricky locking in the actual Phantom Lancer. In lane though, Doppelganger is a pretty long cooldown, so you can try to set up with the Spear and the Earth Spike on the line and just bully out the PL that way. That could be the way to go for Motivate.Trust on Masaros' hero, if they will flex the Bloodseeker. We've seen teams do it, we've seen CTM Raji, and they will go with that Mars. So they've got manageable lanes, they've got the combination with Stone Gaze Arena in play. They've just got to find a way to slow down Tino. Once Tino gets a Diffusal plus Manta style in this game, or even just the SNY plus Diffusal, it's going to be hard to hold him down. And that farm spike is going to come faster than the big Dusa timings, like, say, the Scotty being up, the SNY Scotty being the big one, or Manta Scotty, especially since you're sharing that farm with the TA. So the greed for Motivate.Trust might set them back, but we have seen them do this in drafts before. They're running the Masaros Bloodseeker still.
Wow.
So they're going with a Q Mars. So never mind what I said, and I don't feel confident with Bloodseeker into PL. There is the... No, you don't even have the Earth Spike into Bloodright because you're running Mars 4, so we'll have to see how much pressure they can get out, but it's not looking too bad for Execration even under safely in matchup.
It's very greedy, isn't it, the Motivate.Trust draft? I feel like that's where you're kind of going with this, is you're saying maybe... It's tough, right? Like, Q's gonna land these spears to really make the pick worth. I mean, Masaros and the Bloodseeker, we've seen him before on this hero, and he does tend to perform really well, but is it going to be enough to slow down Tino? It's a lot of space you got to make for Jackie and Fearless here. It's a hell of a lot of space you've got to open up on the map. When you look at Execration, they can play this standard kind of full protect 1 with Tino. You tell me, John, who has the superior draft going into this game too?
I'm going to stick to Execration. I think the Invoker pick already counteracts the Dusa. The Phantom Lancer does that as well. It's going to be a bit tricky going with this Bloodseeker Mars lane. I mean, again, there are ways to make it work. You land a Spear and Bloodright. It's a lot of damage. It's a good amount of control. So you can play around that. Doppelganger is still a long cooldown in lane, despite the matchup. So Tino is not going to have that much dodge potential there. And I guess the first 3-4 levels can feel a bit tough if you do land that combination. But I think Execration just has so many ways of keeping the Dusa down, so many ways of keeping the TA from hitting its full potential, that it's a tricky one for Motivate.Trust from draft.
We'll head into it though. Game 1, or rather Game 2, excuse me, between Execration and Motivate.Trust. Not only do I get the score wrong, but apparently the game number we're at as well, John. There you go. Game 2. Here between Execration Motivate. Motivate still need to try and draw out the series to at least give themselves an opportunity to make it through to the upper bracket. So again, we still haven't really exactly worked out how it's going to work out if there is a draw. That's the admin's problem, not ours. Well, we'll figure that out later.
Yeah, they're the ones who have to do the maths. We just have to sit here and enjoy the games.
And look pretty.
That's their headache.
Look very pretty. It's pretty much our job. Just look as handsome as possible, John.
Yeah, still, we'll see. Motivate.Trust, they are sort of clumping around mid, maybe looking for some punishment. They haven't quite leveled up anything on Fearless, so I don't think you want to go meld when you're on the mid. And we'll see if he's going to be forced for it to look for a kill opportunity. Their level 1 here in Motivate.Trust isn't really amazing. Like, they don't have the best stuns. They don't have the best control. Maybe, again, if you land Bloodright plus Earth Spike, it can look good. And get follow-up Spear. Looks like they will just play it safe, hold back, likely look for just an equal 2-2 start here.
Yeah, no fighting going on here. Execration Motivate. They're just going to leave it be for now. I think if anything, Execration would have probably been way more willing to go for that level 1 team fight with their own draft, but I suppose it would have still been pretty close. Still BDZ. Nice little Observer Ward denied there. He does take one out again against Fearless, and I believe that is the second game in a row Fearless is going to have to play the mid lane without an Observer Ward. Very unfortunate for him. Definitely great news, though, for Bob.
Yeah, Bob on that Invoker up against Fearless on the TA. We've seen this a couple of times. TA should still be able to hold out, still be able to build up some farm, but you will have to watch certain spikes on the Invoker once the combinations are up. And if a support rotation does come in, the TA can be punished. And you will just have to focus on your CS here, build up, play into your side camp, knowing that the sentry's down there, your small camp's not blocked, so you can just go back and try to stack it between waves to get a burst of farm down the line.
Well, spot lane set 0 Masteros against RR and Tino. RR already taking a fair bit of damage, and Masteros, this Bloodseeker, he does tend to be very lane dominant. But we've seen this quite a few times recently, and he does get extremely aggressive with the Bloodright. You do have set 0 there with the Earth Spike, so they can go onto the Silencer like this, and they almost get him down. Not quite enough. RR barely able to survive, but at least they do have the lockdown, and they're not relying on the Mars Spear to really ensure the Bloodright does land.
Yeah, this is a stronger lane, having the Lion take this lane instead of Mars. They can apply that pressure. Tino, for the most part, is slowing down a bit in the CS in the initial wave, so he's going to have to watch himself. As the levels go up, the aggression for Motivate.Trust can just ramp up. So you can expect Masteros and Septior to keep trying to go for these plays, and every single time they can land a stun Bloodright, it can be painful. However, RR, with the Arcane Curse up, can burn through the mana. Septior will take the mana drain, though, so he's going to be able to sustain a bit, but the Silencer will need some more time to really get the aggression out with the last word on top of that.
Absolutely. Of course, up at the top lane, Jackie and Q going to be there against BDZ and Raging Potato. Pretty important for Jackie to have himself a good lane, and in last game around, that did happen. It just didn't amount to a win. This time, it should be a lot less of an aggressive lane for Motivate. Does feel like, if anything, Execration will be the ones moving in to be aggressive. But either way, I kind of expect a bit of a passive farming lane between these two teams in the off lane here. I say that. Raging. Gonna get speared up. Jackie Might be set up for another nice kill as Q does set him up. Never mind what I said, John. No passiveness here. First blood to Jackie.
Yeah, that's something the offlane Tiny has to watch for. God's Rebuke is physical. Tiny has 0 starting armor. So all the right click coming through from Jackie and Q can really ramp up. And they can't really gap close too well. They do miss the spear though, but BDZ still dropping really low. Q is as well.
Yeah, still going for the cookie though. BDZ not able to get him as now the Avalanche. Gonna cancel off the salve and Raging. Able to get a bit of revenge on his way back up towards the top lane. Gonna feel very nice for him. So 1-to-1, all happening in this top lane thus far. I suppose if you're Motivate, you're pretty happy Jackie got that first blood gold anyway. Again, it is a lot more of a greedy draft from Motivate.Trust, so you are going to need all the bonus gold you can get right now. And speaking of, Tino, he's going to get dived bot lane, but Masaros won't want to keep going with that last word applied to him. So we'll just kind of force out the salve usage from Tino, but that'll be about it. He'll back off.
They are keeping a good lid on that PL in comparison to Jackie's lane. Tino's off to a relatively slow start. 9-0 in CS, and it's just down to having that line combination.
Mid lane, Fearless. He's able to pick a solo pick off here against Bob, as now BDZ's going to show up. Not able to get much done against the TA though, so Fearless just going for a deep dive past the tier 1 tower, but able to make it work.
No punishment coming through. Really good start for the TA. Still has the jungle to kind of play with as well, as nothing has been really blocked. The large camp was, but Ancients are still open. No one's really building up stacks anyway, so it's not a massive concern. And Fearless with this kind of good start should be looking into the power treads, into the blink timing. Looking like he just wants to take some early activity compared to the Dragonlance buildup, which is much more stable for farm. The blink can make you more efficient, but in general it does indicate you want to have some early activity here.
BDZ now going to be chased by Q. He'd love a spear back, but it looks like he's not going to have the angle for that. Instead, he's just looking for a stun, but BDZ going to cookie away. And the spear only pushes him further. It's just not really getting the angle he wanted. Jackie, he would have enjoyed his secondary kill of the game, but he's going to have to wait on that.
Still having a great time in lane though, but Raging is matching his farm a bit, although...
Yeah, Jackie, completely out of mana. It just won't really matter though, because you don't have the follow-up yet between Raging and BDZ though. That's speed. And now the cookie out from BDZ does land. God, I hate when you throw a spear like that into a tree line and it just misses. Like, it went right through.
Yeah, the search radius for the spear is really funky. Sometimes it looks like you're supposed to hit one of those trees that just goes right in the middle. And if you were playing football, that'd be a really good shot, but it's Dota, so doesn't quite count as a score. So I don't think Jackie minds too much. He's safe, still building up in CS. I'm surprised by how well Raging so in CS is, though. 22-12, sort of matching Jackie's output so far. So all things considered, the Tiny should still hit decent timings. He is going for the power treads. We'll see if he does opt for Blink. Should be, but you could still just try to go for that physical core Tiny from the offlane.
Earth Spike gonna land. They'll have enough damage with Masaros, and well, now they'll try to trade with Set Zero, but he's just gonna TP right out of there. Courier does at least go down, but Masaros might be able to find a secondary kill for himself as BDZ, but the Blood Right's not gonna land. It won't matter though. Masaros, he'll find the double kill, and RR, he's unable to find any form of a trade. Instead, he'll smoke up and probably just try and snipe the bounty rune on the other side. And in the end, though, losing Tino and losing another, not going to feel very good, as meanwhile, up at the top lane, looks like we do end up losing Raging. Q able to pick up a kill on the Mars now.
Yep, really nice kills to take. Early start from Motivate.Trust looking good. Going 1-5, 2k lead their way. And it's about time where they start getting some more farm onto Fearless. Level 7 now. Power treads up. Again, rushing that blink first. There are some good wards coming through from RR, but they will immediately be dewarded. Taking out at least the Sentry. Obs ward will stand. RR still stuck in a pretty awkward position, though. But he does have a TP, so he'll be able to rejoin Tino in the lane. Big concern for Execration is how slow Tino's lane is going. He's died once. His CS is, again, lagging behind the Medusa. And in general, PL can farm fast, especially with a Phantom Rush being maxed out, but you don't want to have this slow start.
On top lane, Raging Potato able to secure a kill back onto Q with the help of BDZ. It's like Jackie's already left the lane. He'll just go into that standard kind of dire jungling spot. Sum up multiple camps at once, but BDZ's going to show up now. BDZ almost thought he was going to stack for Jackie there, but instead we'll just take the farm off him. Finds a nice little tumbler's toy for himself. Oh, I thought he was going to use it there too, but he doesn't. Unfortunate.
Not quite, but they are finding a little bit more room now in Execrations, and they hit some good level spikes, especially on Raging having 6 up, so would grow. He's got more armor. He's not going to get immediately bursted. Kudo.
Yeah, BDZ probably going to drop here. Raging still trying to find a way to set up. In fact, they've got Bob, and that's a great courier. Cookie is BDZ setting up onto 2. Fearless. He's going to try and back out. The refraction will be enough. And Q, nice spear out onto Bob. Nobody dies in the end. It's Raging. He's looking for a bit more. In the Hex goes onto Bob, but another great cookie is there from BDZ, and Raging's able to get a double kill. Fearless, he's still going to look around for Bob, but the Ghost Walk is there. Sentry will not do enough, and he's trapped between a rock and a hard place. I mean, at least the meld's keeping him alive, but well, eventually he's going to come out. Great setup. Execration. Find a 3 for nothing.
Yeah, they managed to punish Motivate.Trust again for looking to re-engage, for not just cutting their losses and backing off. Really good movement out from Execration. Kind of reminiscent of how game 1 was, right? Motivate.Trust had really strong lanes, a couple of fights can turn that around. They still hold on to that 2k lead. They have switched Jackie over to the mid, into the jungle, so at the very least the Deuce is not joining in and putting her life at threat. But killing off Fearless is still a big deal. Slows down TA just a bit more. With all the rotations up top, you've also bought some space for your PL to start looking for more farming spots, and Tino is just taking that jungle. Masteros is doing good work in that bot tier 1 though. That should go relatively quick. He already has the Hood of Defiance to block a lot of the magical burst on hand. He's going to be rushing the pipe, although...
Yeah, Tornado, EMP is out. Cookie again on the mark as the Avalanche Entos is there. Masteros, he's still a tanky boy, but maybe not tanky enough as now the kisses are flying out. Masteros, he will make it. Only 1 kiss lands. That's so much committed for absolutely nothing. Suppose in the end, Raging will just go back to farming the jungle. But Motivate, they've taken over the net worth board now. 3k going their way. At the least, you do have enough gold that Raging is able to buy the blink out. And we might see some even more just kind of aggression here from our Tiny.
Yeah, you've got to see Raging taking that front point for his team, setting up for the kills. Instead of Motivate.Trust, 3k lead is looking good. But with that blink timing up, there's a lot of magical bursts he can play with. Bot lane is being forced. Fearless is taking point though. TPs are in for the defense.
Bob, BDZ are there. Tornado does land, but now the Blood Right with the rupture from Masteros is going to catch out Bob. Earth Spike out onto BDZ, so he can't really finish off Set Zero. Set Zero into the tree line. Still alive, but blocking his own team. BDZ, he'll come back in, but no, the Hex. The Hex is there. And BDZ will die. Set Zero, he is still being hunted down. They threw a tree into the tree line, but he survives. And he'll just run back to the fountain now.
Yep. This is a much more tempered aggression out from Motivate.Trust. The change-up is Jackie's not joining in. I think that gives, even if these fights don't work out, your Deuce is farming up. Very good news for Motivate.Trust. #1 in net worth right now. In fact, all the heroes from Motivate.Trust are fairly equal in farm, so the distribution's looking good, although...
Yeah, Avalanche toss out. Q. Not too tanky on that pos 5. Mars is going to drop. Nice little pick up there from on the side of Execration. Still a 3k net worth advantage, and of course in all this time, Jackie is still freely farming up. So is Fearless on the TA. And I said this draft was greedy, John, but well, they have a lot of space, at least for now. As Execration, they've still got to try and focus down that mid-tier 1 tower to open up the enemy jungle. But they haven't even gotten close yet.
No, they've not been able to get their push going. They don't have the best lineup for push as well. They don't have a Beastmaster Lycan. They don't have the Leshrac on hand to melt towers. So it's a bit tricky for them to get the damage in. And Motivate.Trust have been doing a good job of playing as a team this time around. I think the key thing is that Fearless is taking a more active position on that TA. So he's not playing the AFK farm TA. He just has the blink up. He's been showing up in side lanes. He's been helping out in the push. And that makes a difference. That gives all the space to Jackie. And the fights have been working out for Motivate.Trust. So the Gambit has paid off. And now they've got level spikes as well. 6 up on Q, Arena ready to go. There is a smoke out from Execration though.
Set 0. Tornado gonna land. BDZ will have the follow-up cookie. Q trying to move in to help out. Set 0. He gets an Earth Spike before he dies. So now they can jump in onto Bob and maybe make it a worthwhile trade for themselves. And they do. Not great news for Execration. Pretty damn good news though for Motivate.Trust. They will continue to hold that mid-tier 1 tower, hold the triangle, and get free farm on Jackie and Fearless. And really, I mean, this shouldn't be allowed for Motivate, but they're getting away with it.
Yeah, they're just playing it really well. They're playing with their supports very well. They're in the right spot at the right time to get these fights off. Execution's falling a bit flat. They're still buying space for Tino. So the PL is catching up in farm, just about 100 gold behind a TA. So all things considered, a PL matching TA farm is pretty good news. Diffusal up on Tino as well. Just needs more to be able to show up and start melting the mana pool of Jackie. And again, that 1v1 matchup can be a bit awkward.
Masteros, a lot of damage being taken. Cookie's there. One of his kisses out. Masteros will eventually drop, and now the Avalanche toss raging. He's got Jackie. Global Silence immediately thrown out. Tina gonna rush forward. Do they have a stun? No, they don't. No stun to cancel the TP, so Jackie with the quick thinking just gets himself out. Such a shame as well, because that's the big kill you want. They just aren't going to be able to get it though.
Yeah, and that is opening up an opportunity for mid. They know Arena's down for a bit longer. They can try to pressure a bit. Again, the push potential of this lineup is not that strong. So they're not going to be able to fully commit, and they are forced to back off with Motivate.Trust respawning up. They have Arena back up, so perhaps Q is looking for an opportunity.
Raging. Blood Right's there. Rupture is going to fly out from Masteros. Tino, he'll send the PL illusions in.
Ooh.
But that's about all that's going to help out. It does at least take the spear, but it won't matter. Masteros still able to secure the kill on the Bloodseeker. And in the meantime, Jackie, he starts just whacking away at that mid-tier 1. Hasn't completely secured it yet, but he has his whole team around him now and should comfortably be able to get that mid-tier 1 tower.
BDZ.
Blood right out. BDZ speared all the way back into the loving arms of Jackie. That's the kind of spear you love to see as a position 1.
Yeah, sent back to the core. Even Finger coming out to ensure the damage for Jackie would be enough. They're just feeding on the Stusa. So the big difference between this game and game 1 is that Motivate.Trust have not been taking careless fights. They've had Jackie AFK farm while Fearless takes the active position. And it is paying off. Their lead isn't as big as game 1 because they are giving it a little bit more room for Execration. Oh.
Set 0 gonna get caught out. Get some quick wards down before he does die. And I actually like this Observer Ward quite a lot because it should be out of range of that high ground sentry. If it is placed by the side of Execration, you might just not expect to be caught out by this obs. Just by the secret shot.
Yeah, it's a really great spot to get that information and cut off the tier 1 TPs.
Jackie.
They are going to try again on mid.
Yeah, Avalanche toss, but unfortunately that'll mean the Mortimer's Kisses can't really just keep landing. They toss it back into BDZ, but BDZ can't actually spit the fire on himself. So in the end, Jackie's able to walk out another time.
And that's massive commitment. Not just the Kisses, but the Global Silence being down as well. Cuts off some bigger teamfight potential for Execration. So more downtime for Jackie to keep farming up. He's got the Manta up. He's hitting some good spikes on the Dusa now. Getting a lot of damage off and a lot of stats up. If he hits a Scotty timing as well down the line, with all the stats he has available, it could be really hard for the PL to start melting him. You're still a good counter in the PL with Diffusal, but Tino needs to match pace. He is number 2 in net worth now, only behind Jackie by about 1.5k, so it's not all too bad. Sanj is up, likely looking for the Sanj and Yasha build, just for more agi and some stat resist on hand. He could look for maybe a Halberd if he does want to disarm Jackie or Fearless, but you have to watch this. Motivate.Trust is smoked again.
They are. And they move. Motivate to BDZ. Spot out RR. Again, that observer ward giving plenty of information right now for Motivate.Trust. They continue to move in, but they're unable to find any form of disable. Not catching anyone quite yet. Maybe just not feeling confident with all the backup Tino has. They may still move in, but the problem is there's even more backup now as Raging showing up. And Motivate, in the end, are going to decide better of it. And they'll back off, back to their own jungle. Huddle around Jackie. And Execration. They seem to just be putting all their eggs into the Tino basket, but I guess it is still a PL. Still going to be a very, very strong late game kind of core to have. Cookie. Does land onto Q. Raging. Might look for a blink toss back, but the arena's there. Jackie with the stone gaze trying to hold him down. They do get the stone off. Masteros now with the blood right. And Raging, in the end, does get a little bit too greedy and goes too far. Motivate.Trust will be able to take another kill here for Masteros.
Yeah, it's building up just a bit too far forward here for Raging. It is giving space out for Tino to head bot, build farm up, knowing that the TPs came up top, knowing that all the heroes are focused there. So it is still about putting all their eggs into the Tino basket, but so far he's not able to close the net worth gap. It's just building up for Jackie, and you can see Motivate.Trust. They're still smoked up. They're looking for Roshan. Fearless, he does have the Deso up, so it's not going to take too long. They are playing under... Yeah, they should be able to take it, and there's no vision coming through from Execration. And now they've got to potentially deal with 2 lives on Jackie. But your PL's not ready for that. So it's a massive advantage for Motivate.Trust now. Fearless does pick up the Aegis himself, because he is the one actually jumping in, which makes more sense. And now Execration, 5k behind. I think their next spikes, not just with Tino, but with Raging, is really the Echo Saber Silver Edge build-up for the Tiny. Like, if you do manage to also get your Tiny farmed up and match pace, then you've got 2 big cores to play with, which can sort of match the TA Dusa. It's just difficult with all the durability both of those heroes have. So I think for Execration, the key thing for them is to find a good jump and use the Global Silence properly to get those kills. We haven't seen them really build off of that control in any recent fights.
Mid lane, Motivate.Trust. Looking to move in, drop an arena as Q does have the blink up. And Bob and RR both going to back off the right time. Still allowing a lot of time here for Tino, but he is about 3k behind Jackie at the moment. Mid lane again, Raging, looking at Masteros. Masteros is baiting for his team at the moment as the curse is going to fly in, and now Q's there to catch out the silencer. They'll just throw the finger out. That'll be enough for Motivate. And in the meantime, you got the bottom tier 2 tower there with Jackie. So they're more than happy with what they get. Right to the outpost as well. And it's very slow but methodical play here from Motivate.Trust this game too.
Exactly what we were looking for them to change up from game 1. They're not being super aggressive with the lead. They are putting themselves forward, but they're not taking risky fights with very low payoff. So they're hitting some good timings. The Scotty is coming up for Jackie. This is the one we were talking about with all the stats Jackie has. The damage output of your PL, it's going to take time to melt through him.
Avalanche toss, Sunstrike, not going to be enough. Masteros, he'll still survive. Hell, even the kisses flying in, but just do nothing. Jackie does commit the Stone Gaze just in case they follow up, but they do not. And so now if you're Motivate, with the Aegis up and all the ultis down of Execration, you might be more than happy to just start rushing in for a team fight. Problem is, you are still fighting into a PL. Jackie gonna find himself losing his mana rather early on, so he's not gonna bother trying to go high ground and forcing a fight here against Execration. But they are gonna go for a 5-man smoke again. Execration moving in onto Fearless. They've got the TA toss back. Fearless, almost dead, but the arena's down. Q catching quite a few here. It's a lot of damage already as Masteros. He's in. They might lose their Mars, but they might be able to keep fighting. They jump in onto RR. They've got the silencer, but now Fearless. Avalanche toss is there from Raging. He goes down again. Jackie needs to be very careful. His mana is going down very, very quickly here to Tino, and it's already gone. He needs to get the hell out. But toss is up. Avalanche is there. They're going to lose another. Tino, he'll keep rushing forward for more. Rupture there from Masaros. They'll force Tino back. They have no way to finish the job. His Blood Right will easily be juked out with the Doppelganger. And now that mid-tier 1 tower surely is set to fall for Execration, but no. Seems like they are going to retreat once again. Maybe get a reset going and just get back to farming as the dire triangle, Raging Potato. Well, he got a bounty rune away from Q, but now he's probably just going to die here for this. Spear. Oh, the spear.
Ooh.
That doesn't help you out. Raging, toss back. Avalanche is there. Fearless, though, is going to join in the fray. Raging, he is buying so much time for his team. They're still trying to chase him down and kill him. He's got another toss back very soon, but they finally get him down as Q.
Ooh.
Almost ends up dropping to the Sunstrike, but not quite.
Yeah, it's a lot of back and forth. I think Execration still overall happy about the result of that last fight. They took down Fearless. They managed to get a little bit of gold injection. You're seeing Tino now barely lagging behind that Dusa. Just about a 600 gold difference, and this PL is becoming an issue. Sure, he doesn't hit for much. The illusions, when they do stack up, once you burn the Dusa mana, it becomes really easy to manage her. Like she really can't sustain herself without the mana shield, and Tino is working towards that heart, only lacking the Vit booster. So your PL is going to hit a major spike where you're just not going to be able to completely right-click down all the illusions. A lot of them will live through. You do have good AoE damage coming out from Motivate.Trust. You know, you've got God's Rebuke, you've got the Side Blades, Split Shot to an extent works. You've got the Mana Drain and Hex as well to clear out some illusions, but the issue is there's so many illusions that you can't really clear all of them out fast enough on Motivate.Trust side, and even with a 4K lead for Motivate.Trust, it does feel like they have to be a bit cautious. Like, they do have the map advantage with the first tier 2 being taken out. They've got control of the bot jungle with the outpost. There are really good wards from Execration to watch where Motivate.Trust plays in that bot jungle, though. And it does feel like Jackie isn't far ahead enough at this point. Like, a marginal 700 gold lead isn't really an item advantage for the Dusa, and this hero does want to play ahead for the most part. And even the TA, Fearless, he's starting to lag behind. There's a bigger divide between Fearless and Jackie now, which is a worrying sign for the TA. Desperately needs that BKB to stand in front and avoid the damage from all the magical nukes that Execration has, but that BKB timing is going to be key for them to kind of force the fights back their way.
Motivate, they move in, but Cataclysm's up. Fearless, he's going to lose most of his HP as now the kisses are out. Whoopsie. Masaros also caught by the tornado, and now Tino's in. Masaros, it's very hard to see him getting out of this one. He's going to drop the 5th kill out for Tino now. And here we go. Smoke up. Execration. Gonna keep going for more. Smoke broken, but they found Q. Raging with a nice toss back right into the shotgun of BDZ. And it's into that tier 1 mid tower. They'll finally get rid of it.
Still hunting with Raging, though. They could spot out Jackie. Avalanche toss is ready, but they miss out. So, tier 1 tower gone. More map control coming out from Execration. The lead of Motivate.Trust shrinks down to 2k. And if they're not careful, that's going to shrink down further. Tino is just really hard to control. He does have the full heart up. Scotty next. So the PL is really getting stacked and can just toss out the illusions to burn through the mana, to burn through the refraction of that TA. Motivate.Trust need more time for that TA to really be online. Masaros?
Masaros, that's a lot of damage, so I don't know if you want to be there right now. He'll get a rupture off onto BDZ, but BDZ's just going to hide. Tino, he won't get the job done, but instead he'll move in onto Jackie. Stonegaze is forced, but Arena gonna trap up Tino. Doppelganger not up right now, still waiting, but Raging, he tosses him out. Raging saves the day, and now the cookie to help out the Tiny. He might make it as well. Everybody survives. And Motivate.Trust, I mean, you've got to feel so bad about that. Commit all those ultis, get nothing. Tino's gonna reset with the heart up now. And they might just move back in. I mean, why the hell not?
They know a lot of the big spells are down for Motivate.Trust. I love how Tiny works against these physical damage lineups. Right in lane, you have 0 armor. You have 0 agi gain as well, so you don't gain any natural armor. But once you get grow level 2, 18 bonus armor, you get a couple of items up. Suddenly you're really tanky. You saw the right-click damage coming through from Jackie just kind of tickle that Tiny, and it's just a massive issue. They can't burst down the PL, they can't burst down the Tiny, they can only work the back line, they lose their tier 2 top, so they're going to lose outpost control as well. That's going to open up the second Roshan for Execration. And Motivate.Trust, they just need to keep stalling for the Dusa. They need more items on Jackie. He is saving up for that Daedalus, not too far off into the Shard. So he's going to have a reflected Mystic Snake coming through, which can be helpful. Fortunately for Motivate.Trust, it's a slightly, medium timer rush, so a minute and a half until Execration get in there. That should give them some time to prep and even reveal some of their items. They've got the BKB up in Fearless, so he can stand in the middle and fight. He doesn't need to care about the avalanche cost. He can make work happen.
Here we go. Cataclysm there, raging. Getting a lot of damage off that Mars, but not quite enough, as now the arena down with the spear out. Fearless, he's going to join in, and raging this time may have gone too far. Cookie, though, not going to be there in time. Nice pickup for Motivate. They'll take their outpost back, and they'll move in for more. BDZ being hunted by Q. You've got the Rupture up on Massaros, but they're not going to make the way in. They don't have the vision. And instead, they'll hang around the Roshan pit, but that's going to be about 45 seconds away. So Motivate, they'll play the patience game. And it seems like this game is probably going to ride on this next Roshan.
Both sides definitely want that Rosh, especially Motivate.Trust. If they do get the Roshan with a Shard, giving it to Jackie will save him some gold. They could give it to Fearless as well for the silence on the trap. Still Bob.
No, Hex is out. It's a big pickup if they get it. Bob really has nowhere to go now with the Rupture. He's gone. Another nice pick here from Motivate. Just setting up for that next Roshan, and if they make their way over right now, they'll see Roshan just about to respawn up. There's about 50 seconds without the Invoker.
Yeah, it's a big opening for Motivate.Trust to play with. Execration have to be a bit cautious. They should still be able to put themselves in position for the Rosh, though. Global Silence is 40 seconds off, so it's not going to quite time with the Rosh fight itself. But they do take out the trap, so they're going to be able to go back in if they want them. It is going to be a bit blind from both sides. But Fearless shows up, drops another trap, and they will get done. Again, Rosh number 2 with the Ag Shard. Very valuable here. Fearless can be a bit sneaky, but Jackie's going to be in. We've got the melt. It's not going to take too long to melt through the Rosh with all the damage on Jackie with his fresh Daedalus as well. And that's going to be a massive loss for Execration. They are in the area, but just a bit too late.
Oh, Aegis is still on the deck. Fearless eventually picks it up.
Ooh.
Bit of a scary scenario as the PL illusions. Yeah, had they got into that Aegis and denied it off, you wouldn't have been very happy as Motivate. In the end, Jackie just pops the Stone Gaze to make sure nothing comes of it.
Invisibility.
So a 5k net worth advantage now for Motivate.Trust. Execration still in this game, but they are falling just slightly behind. And in terms of win probability right now, sitting at 30% for Execration. As Jackie's going to move in onto the Tiny, but Raging will just Shadow Blade away. Rupture out onto BDZ, but he's going to be just fine on the high ground. How's Tino doing? Going for that Eye of Skadi next. In fact, he's got a lot of gold for it. They're going to smoke up as 5 and try to move into that mid lane. Motivate are hanging out, and they still don't have the Stone Gaze right now. It's going to be a very dangerous predicament for Jackie, who doesn't have the Aegis either. It's still on Fearless, and the Avalanche Cataclysm's there. Global Silence, it's going to be a little bit late, but it won't matter anyway. They still turn. Motivate, they've got Raging, they've got Set 0. So a 1-for-1. Definitely favorable there for Execration. Or excuse me, rather Motivate.Trust. Execration, they lost their offlane Tiny. Not going to feel amazing.
They're going to have to take a step back. Maybe just wait for the Skadi timing on Tino. It's super close. They don't need to force the issue until that's up. And once that is up, the PL illusion is going to be harder to burst down. They do at least have the Shard up on Motivate.Trust on their Lion if he was up. So it is a bit more manageable to clear out some of those initial illusions. But they've even got the damage right now anyway. So you need more of those stats up on Tino. Side of Motivate.Trust are feeling secure. They've got Aegis for treatments. They can just slowly chip away at the objectives. The Scotty is up though, so a bit more presence on that peel. They just need to find the angles now. No global sounds can make this a bit tough, but they are looking to move forward.
In they go. Jackie going to be spotted. Avalanche and the toss back is successful. They've got the real Jackie, and he's running low on mana already as Tino's just going to surround him. Fearless will jump in and try and help out. Jackie's still going to try and fight back, but it looks like he's gone. They've got the Medusa, and now Fearless, he's a bit of a sitting duck right now. Earthspike's going to try and help out, but it won't be enough. Can they get him a second time? They'll take care of set 0, but eventually the blink away from Fearless into the BKB-TP is going to work out. As Q even gets caught by the ice wall there of Bob. Looks like they won't be able to really catch him in the end. Still, you got a 2-for-0 trade, and more importantly, you do end up getting the Medusa. Definitely happy days right now for Execration.
Yeah, it's that big spike with the Scotty. The illusions don't melt as quick now to the right-click damage coming through from Jackie. And this is all they really needed in that last fight. They just kind of rushed into it. They should be able to get more off the map now. They can just run Tino up front, no worries in the world. And Motivate.Trust, it boils down to the Medusa and the TA not having a farm advantage. Sure, you're slightly ahead there in Jackie. It's a marginal lead. It's not an item lead at all. And we'll have to be a bit careful as Tino's now willing to throw his body forward.
Tino, very confident. Rupture's going to fly out. He's a very tanky boy at the moment. Bloodright also going to be there. Tino will just doppel through it, no problem. In the end, the Rupture just not going to be enough to hold the man down. And he has the free reset with the Heart of Tarrasque, but now Raging. Avalanche toss onto Fearless. Another great target. Arena's going to be dropped. It's too late, I think. BKB is out, but it's not doing enough as Jackie. He'll have to fight this one out on his own. He does get BDZ, and Raging's also gone. They'll try to deal with Tino now, but Tino, he'll just jump back in onto Masseros. Big tornado there from Bob, but hold on a minute. There's a Hex out. They've got the PL, the Spearback, the Bloodright, the Silencers. They've got him. Or have they? No, the Dire gets the kill. Well, the tier 3 tower takes it, apparently. Of all things, nobody can hit the damn PL.
Yeah, but you're seeing that illusion control coming through from set 0. Just very patient, uses the mana drain to clear out a couple of the army. If you're not careful, if you don't have enough illusions up in the PL, very easy to isolate them out. You also have to be cautious about phasing into that Stone Gaze. Raging
gets caught out with the spear. Smoke up to help them speed up and try to find Raging, as now they will get within range. Still 4 staff away from RR to try and help his Tiny, but well, buyback even going to be forced out from BDZ. Raging though, he's already gone, and now BDZ might just be a bit of a sitting duck as they'll dive that tier 2 tower, no problem. BDZ, nice cookie away, will try to force staff, but in the end it is going to be a secondary kill now for Jackie. And if you're Motivate with 3 heroes down, you're at least forcing a tier 2, maybe even a tier 3 tower.
Yeah, they've got some time, especially until the Tiny's back up. The PL will be back up soon, but Tino in a vacuum is just not enough. He needs his team to back him up. They need to play around with global sounds and the Invoker spells to really get that to work. And that high ground just begins. They give the Blood Rage over to Jackie, just machine guns through the tower. Respawn is coming up soon, so I'm not sure how deep Motivate.Trust will commit, but they are still here. Feeling confident with numbers advantage.
But they are. The tier 3 tower not going to last too long. In with Tino up, he just can't jump in right now. In fact, Earthspike is there onto the Silencer, but Q copying a fair bit of damage himself. He'll drop the arena, but he's out of mana. He can't spear. Cataclysm to fly through. That'll be Q gone. Jackie's still willing to fight. RR dropping quite low on the Silencer, and he's gone. Tino, though, he'll move in onto Fearless. The TA needs a way out. Stonegaze is there. Does stone up Tino. He'll keep rushing, though, onto the Templar Assassin and gets the kill, but now he's going to deal with the Medusa. Can he get it done? The split shot doing its work. Jackie and Tino just man fighting against each other. Meanwhile on the side, Bob goes down, and Tino, he can't man fight. Jackie is just continuing to just right click him away. Illusions or not, the split shot and the Mystic Snake doing too much work. But now Raging's in with the Avalanche, but no toss. The X is there from set 0. Still they'll move in with the cookie now and the toss up. But do they have the follow-up damage? Tino's in again, trying to get the real Jackie. Eventually, he might get through him, and he does. Execration finally taking out Jackie on the Deucer. And now they've got Q on that Mars. And that'll be a dieback for Q.
It's pretty big for Execration. Motivate.Trust just overstaying their welcome on the high ground. We do manage to get that good kill on Bob, but not quite enough. I think the only issue Tino has to worry about is that Stone Gaze. Once he's isolated by the Stone Gaze, gets amplified up by the Stone Form, it can be a bit tricky for him to weave in and out, but eventually he can overwhelm. There is that issue with the crits on the split shot with the level 25 talent up on the Deucer. So there's much more for Jackie to kind of deal with Tino, but I think Tino, you know, he's got the goal to maybe start building into more items here. Not quite sure what he'd want next, but he does have the magic wand slot to toss out. He could just go for, say, a basher into Abyssal, just to have a nice stun to use on the Deucer in the middle of a fight. That could buy enough time for him to just overwhelm the Deucer and just start running from there. With all those kills on hand, they will be able to find more on the map. They're going to take out that bot tier 1, maybe the tier 2 as well. Respawns are inching closer though, so it could be a bit of a risk. But they have control back on the map for Execration. Next, Roshan just about 8 seconds away. So a big Roshan timing as well. Motivate.Trust will find out first with the TA traps. So it's down to Execration to spot it out themselves by sending a body forward. But if Motivate.Trust can sneak a Rosh, that could give them more time here to keep trying to build up in that Deucer.
It seems like they desperately might need it. I mean, the Axe Blessing as well going to be very important for either side. At least Jackie does have the BKB up now on the Medusa. Tino still proving to be a pretty big problem. Top lane, Masaros. All his mana drained, but he's not going to die out to Bob on the Invoker. The Butterfly being built up, so Masaros kind of going as almost a third pos 1 here if you count the TA as well. Bob still going to move in. Very aggressive kind of position here from Bob, but not going to amount to much. Motivate, they are going to stay huddled now. I mean, you're at that 39-minute mark. You've got to be very wary not to get caught out on your own. In the meantime, Tino, he'll get the Roshan started. Motivate, they should know this is happening. They don't really have much of a choice in the matter. They have to fight this.
Yeah, it is a slower Roshan. PL doesn't quite clear it fast, as you don't really get value from the defusal burn, so a lot of DPS missing to get it done quickly. The side of Motivate.Trust does manage to drop another trap in, immediately taken care of, but they do spot that the Roshan isn't fully committed by Execration, so they can take a step back, breathe a little bit more, try to find the angle. And for Execration, I feel like it's more important for them to find a Roshan, because the Ag Shard, the Agnum's Blessing, say on Tino, getting the maxed juxtaposed illusions out in the middle of a fight will really just overwhelm something like Medusa. So could be a really nice spike for him for the side of Motivate.Trust if they get the free Ags on Jackie, or on Fearless if they do feel the need to just psionic projection around. Can be big. And we have seen that stone form really hurt Tino. So Jackie with the Ag's Blessing can just actually take control of that PL if you're not careful.
Oh, Raging being caught by himself, but BKB going to be popped, and in fact it's Set Zero who gets caught. Raging will TP out while the BKB is still active. And Set Zero, he still has the buyback available, so it's no real big problem. In fact, Tino, it was just the PL illusions rushing in. The actual Tino with a double damage rune up has gone back into the Roshan pit. It's still a very slow process though. Towards the side, Masaros pops his BKB and ruptures up. Onto Bob, Dust is there, but Raging gonna move in after the BKB and takes him down. 2 heroes down for the side of Motivate. They might need to buy back, because this Roshan's getting very low now.
Yeah, and they've got the damage with Raging. They will force a buyback on Masaros. The TPs are coming in. Jackie.
He's gonna try. Tornadoes in though. They've got everything they needed. Ags, Aegis, and Cheese all up on Tino. He'll rush forward onto Jackie. Those buybacks, you gotta make them worthwhile now. But Tino, he's right onto Q on that Mars. Can he get a spear off? Not quite. You've already lost one. It's another dieback on Tino, and now set 0 going right back to the graveyard as nobody's controlling Tino up. Cataclysm to fly in. Fearless, he's just completely surrounded. He'll try onto BDZ. Jackie still going to work as well with the deafening blast through. Can they actually kill this PL once? It does seem like it. They'll get through the first life. Jackie's got a double, but that might be enough. Masaros, he does also find RR. Chase forward. Tornado on 2 with the EMP out. Nice setup. Tino, he'll focus down the Bloodseeker first. I think they want to leave Jackie till last, but the problem is Tino, he keeps getting silenced by the traps of Fearless. And now the Rupture's out just in the nick of time. He's going to try and heal himself up. He still has the cheeses available, though I did believe he just ate it. And they'll move in onto Jackie on that Medusa. Solo on mana. Jackie still just trying to fight this one out. It's looking really bad for him though. Tino eventually will get it done. Jackie gonna drop. Has the buyback. Fearless now.
Fearless.
He needs some help, but he's out of mana to boot. He's gone.
Ooh. It's a bit messy. It looked pretty good for Motivate.Trust just for a bit, but Tino is just way too big. And with that Juxtapose active, he just spawns up the army. And just like that, you overwhelm the Medusa, you melt through her, drain her mana, they take the mid-racks. There is a huge wave down bot though, but that should be cleared out by our Snapfire relatively well. And they're going for tier 4s.
They're going to force the buyback down. Q immediately just dropping here to Tino as Jackie pops his BKB and tries to fight. They'll get Bob. No buyback on the Invoker. Motivate. They lose 1 racks, but they're able to defend the tier 4 towers. Of course, Tino did force tier 4s to get the buybacks out, I believe, from Motivate. So I suppose in the end you still get what you want, but they probably didn't want to really lose Bob like that.
No, that was a dieback for Bob. Still, Tino, he's got the Abyssal up.
Yeah, he's rushing in. Jackie, Mystic Snake out. He's going to try and fight this one with the Stone Gaze set. Earth Spike's not on the real target, though. Tino's backed off. Oh, he's got that Aghanim Scepter Blessing as well, so he can spawn up all the illusions. Just so annoying to try and deal with now, especially if you're Jackie, because you're just going to have constant illusions surrounding you.
Yeah, and that's why that Roshan was so important. Like, the Ags upgrade was big for either side, and Tino is just able to overwhelm them every single time. If you use that spell right, it can just turn the state of a fight on its head. So mid-racks is fully cleaned up. Again, tier 4 still stand, but the rest of Execration could look to set up. They're probably just going to have to wait for Bob to come back in. Tino, he is fully slotted up, but he could let go of his boots and opt for some more damage if he did want to. Does feel like damage is still not racking up as fast as you'd want there on the PL, just nature of the hero once mana is burned out. So we'll see if he does opt to kind of go fully slotted up here. Still holding on just for the buyback, only has 1.7k surplus. So can't really spend big yet. Side of Motivate.Trust, sticking together as a team. They are lagging behind now. Jackie and Fearless are way behind Tino and Farm. 39k net worth on RPL, 28k on Jackie. A 10k difference for Adusa is not something you tend to see all too often. And Jackie does have the Mjolnir up with his level 25 talent. Chances to proc lightning can make it easier to manage the illusions. And the active, of course, helps protect him if he is jumped. So more options for the Adusa to play around with. I feel like you want the Ags now on Jackie. You want to have that Mystic Snake Stone form to isolate the real PL and help burn him down. Maybe that's the play down line. Just kind of get the Ags Blessing going for yourself. That is still a ways off, and the map is way too shrunk down to really get that in a timely manner. So we'll see how much longer it takes for Motivate.Trust to find that opening, but it does feel like the game is in Execration's hand, a 17k lead. And they've just managed to reel it back with a PL.
Still Motivate. Sticking together. That's 5. Top lane going to be forced in by BDZ. Smoke up now, but immediately broken by Raging. Do they see him? Blood right out, but no, they don't react fast enough. They don't catch him. Motivate. Have to back out. Smoke is unsuccessful. In the meantime, Sight the Vice is now available on Bob. So even more control as they do go in with the arena now. But look how fast Q's dropping to Tino. They got some silences off, but Tino's going to be fine through it. Meanwhile, on the backside, Fearless, he gets RR down. They get the spear off. They've got the PL. They barely get it done. That's a big pickoff.
Yeah, Tino, a bit of a mistake with the doppel. I'm not sure where he was trying to go with the doppel, whether or not he wanted to go out of arena. He ended up being stuck on the outer wall.
Oh.
So he couldn't move. Easy spear setup coming through from Motivate.Trust, and that's a big opening. They're gonna rush down mid. They could force the buyback here from Execration. They do not want to let go of the racks. We'll see if they can make something happen in Execration though. They're still grouping around. Raging is pretty strong with a silver edge up, but he's not that rich as a core, so the damage output isn't amazing. They're just gonna go for the creep cut.
Buybacks are still there. Mid lane, Raging. He's got himself a nice target. Does catch out Q, and as long as you've got the Cataclysm available, you're going to be able to always do that. But now Jackie's trying to force T4 towers. He wants the buyback out of Tino. And he might just be able to get it. Tornado out, BDZ jumping in, triple stun out. There's your buyback, Tino. He's going to move in as the Avalanche toss is there. They are holding Jackie down, waiting for Tino to make his appearance in this fight. Abyssal Blade is out. TP is cancelled. Jackie, he's going to have to man fight. There's no other way out of this team fight as Jackie, he gets stunned up. He's gone. Or is he? No, he is. They left the last word to do it. Fearless, completely surrounded. No buybacks available. Execration, after 48 minutes, should finally have this game. So I don't know how you defend now with the Lion and Mars. Just seems kind of impossible.
Yeah, it's not going to be enough. It was a valiant effort coming through, rushing the tier 4s, but the PL is too big. Like, even if you force the buyback, Tino is just massive enough to overcome, and well, Motivate.Trust, we'll see what they have to do here. They aren't calling it yet, but it is looking very dicey for the defense.
The tier 4 towers we go. Again, it's very hard for Motivate to defend. They're going to try it, looks like. It's just very awkward. Skew's going to jump in. The Hex is out immediately. Get a BKB off, but how do you fight? He's trying to get BDZ. They've almost got him down. He's going to buy back on the Mars, but now Tino just rushes the Ancient. Game over. That'll mean Execration should have secured their upper bracket slot throughout the playoffs, and will Motivate, they'll be knocked down to the lower.
Yeah, it's a valiant effort coming through from Motivate.Trust. You know, they had a pretty good start with Jackie. They were building up fairly well on the Dusa TA, but eventually it's a PL. It's a PL against Dusa. Sure, you maybe had some counterplay with the Lion, especially with the Mana Drain and the Ag Shard. It wasn't enough. Tino is just way too much to deal with. He did manage to outfarm the Dusa as well, which is a massive issue. And down the line, trying to sustain TA and Dusa to keep up in farm to get an item advantage, the map is just too small for both of these heroes to be ahead. So they lose out in map control early on Motivate.Trust as well, and Execration does manage to make it work out really well. It was a bit rocky early on, but again, they had faith in Tino. They built up on the PL and just managed to burn through what Motivate.Trust had in mind. So they do get that upper bracket start. Great news for Execration. Motivate.Trust, they're going to have to start in the lower bracket, but we've seen them do that before in the playoffs of a Pro Series. We'll see if they can hold it together there when playoffs kick off.
We do have one more series left, John. Polaris Esports against OB Neon. And the fun part about this series is it still has some effect on the standings, as AG have not been kicked out quite yet. OB Neon and AG currently tied in 8th place. All OB Neon need to do is get a draw. At least. If they get a 2-0, they're guaranteed. If they get a draw, they're guaranteed to move up. If they somehow lose 0-2, then I believe that does mean that they're stuck in a tie with Army Geniuses. And again, I don't know how they're going to work out who makes it ahead if they ended up losing 0-2. We'll find out. We are going to head to a short 15-minute break. And of course, right after that break, we're going to be back with our final series of the night between Polaris and, of course, the side of, because I have a terrible memory, OB Neon. See you soon.
Neon.
Thank you, John.